So it's pouring rain. We got the trailer in tow, and we are on our way to pick up a new project car. So here it is. Yeah. So tiny. Holy shit. Look at all she's got there, for Christ's sake. Man, those gears are long. We cruising though. Hey, wipers work. Drives pretty nice, super soft, really smooth, kind of floaty. Whoa, yeah, real floaty. These leaves are like swapping up bad. All right, slow down, slow down, slow down. Pull the e-brake. We have no brakes, so engine braking and e-brake. All right, let's see if she'll slide. Get it, go, 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 go. Yeah, she's squealing. Open diff for the win. Oh yeah. God, these are long gears. Literally all she's got. Come on. Definitely looser than a wet noodle. The suspension's about the softest thing I've ever felt. It's got more body roll than body roll than your grandma. And yeah, I don't know, we'll see what we can do with this thing. It could be fun. Well, that was pretty short-lived. She's stuck, so we're gonna pull her out tomorrow because the battery's dead. Yeah! Reminder, safety first, kids. Look at that, this bad boy's got a cold air intake. Look at the size of this thing. I mean, literally. So we're thinking budget drift car, but what would you do with this car? Because I'm kind of open to changing my mind still. We were thinking we'd just slam it to the ground, put some really wide tires, super high offsets on it, cut out the arches, fender flares, weld the rear end, slap a turbo on the little 1.3 liter, and give it hell until it went. At that point, we'd probably do like a 5.3 swap or something. A leaf sprung rear end, it's not a 4-link, so we'd probably end up having to convert that to get it to slide at all. 4 to 8.8 rear end, we're gonna have to come up with tranny. So we're gonna go ahead and work on the brakes today. They are completely shot. We've been driving it around with nothing but an e-brake and compression braking, which is scary as hell. So let's get in here and see how bad these things really are. You can see down in there, the master cylinder looks like it's full of grease. So that's how bad the brake fluid is on this. So we're gonna have to do a complete flush on the system. So I'm gonna get started by unhooking the rear brake lines and checking out what the rear shoes and everything look like. Yeah, it's pretty bad. It's like the cylinders have been leaking for quite a while. These shoes have probably gotten soaked with brake fluid and are completely shot. So good thing I ordered new ones. Same here. These guys are gonna need a full rebuild. Plus I gotta pull the lines to get all the old fluid out of there. So now we gotta get this master cylinder pulled out of here so I can get to the front of the brake line so that I can hopefully blow them out and get all that gunk out of there. So we finally got the master cylinder out, and I think it's safe to say this thing is shot. So all the fluid that I could see in the master looked like grease at this point. So it's completely gunked up, it's really dried out. It's thickened up all the way to that proportioning valve. We're just gonna keep chasing those lines, and hopefully we get lucky and at some point they turn back to fluid and I don't have to pull the lines out of the entire car and flush them. Well, that kind of sucked. Thing is crammed in there, but we finally got the new master in. We're ready to fill this thing up with alcohol now and start flushing the system. We're gonna go ahead and pull one of the lines from these back wheels, and we're gonna pump the brakes and bleed it until we get clear alcohol coming out all the way at the back. Then we should be ready to pull the backing plates and the whole brake setup here and start rebuilding it. We get the bleeder cracked, got a water bottle on here. Just gonna keep refilling that alcohol and pumping the brakes until this thing starts running clear, which means we've got all of the brake fluid pushed through. Somebody already did a number on the rear brake lines for this thing. Like, even with a flare nut wrench on them, they're just rounding all the way off. We're gonna go out with vice grips to get these stupid things out. Okay, that sucked a lot. Nothing is ever easy when you're working on an old Japanese shitbox. Not feel like bending brake lines. So I just dropped them off on Friday morning, said bend me some new ones up. That way I could pick them up that night, get these done over the weekend. Unfortunately, even though I told them they were metric lines, they had put 3/16 ends on them. So they were too loose in the wheel cylinders and were not gonna work. So today was Monday. I finally dropped off the new ones this morning, picked these ones up on the way home, and they look good. So we're finally ready to knock this thing out now. So this is a pretty early Japanese brake setup. It's kind of funky. The master cylinder actually moves in one direction, unlike most where you've got two pistons inside and they move and push out both brake shoes equally. This one actually only pushes in one direction and the cylinder itself slides. So as it pushes on this brake shoe, and makes contact with the drum, the theory is that it will self-center to put force equally in both directions. I'm pretty sure that Datsun later went to a standard dual piston cylinder because this probably didn't break as effectively as the newer styles, but I don't know, let's see. Even with having somebody else do the lines, I'm still having to tweak them a bit. Moral of the story, you might as well just do brake lines yourself. Pretty much had to rebend the whole things and adjust them and get them to fit right. So having somebody else do these lines, not only did they get them wrong and cost me an entire weekend to work, but in the end, it was just about as much work as if I would have started with blank lines. So nothing ever goes smooth. Don't ever trust a shop to do it right unless you really, really know them. And sometimes it just pays to do it yourself. I'm gonna call it a night though because it is late and I'm pretty sure my wife will kill me if I go in the house right now and ask her to help me bleed this thing. So we'll do that tomorrow. Put some new rubber on this thing. 3 out of the 4 corners had different tire makes on them, and 2 of them were snow tires and all of them were shot. So picked up some used tires that will fit this thing, a little set of Goodyears that got decent tread left and should at least make it drivable for a while. So now we can actually drive this thing without being worried about getting a blowout the entire time. So the other day I was out at the Pull and Save yard looking for some stuff for the Corolla. Actually surprised the hell out of me, there was a B210 sitting there. Didn't have a ton of stuff left. It was really, really rough shape, but I did get lucky. One of the things this car was missing was the mirror is busted off here. It had a good mirror, no glass unfortunately, but that's a pretty easy fix. Another thing I got that I already got put on the other side, both the front and the rear markers were busted on this thing. And it happened to have 2 good ones. I think almost every other light on the thing was broken, but those 2 were good, so that's a score. So we've taken this thing on a few more dry runs since fixing the brakes just to kind of work out any bugs and see what's up. Oh.
Dun, 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 dun. I remember my first manual car.
As I said, originally we were going to turn this into a drift car or some kind of track car. The cars are just way too pristine. I mean, it's kind of like a time capsule. You know, it's got some wear and tear and it's almost 50 years old now, but it's amazing. It's even got some of the original paperwork in the glove box, and I gotta say that as slow as this thing is, there's something super cool and nostalgic about driving this car. Like, it's not fast, gears are super long, but it's super smooth, it's tiny. It just feels like driving, I don't know, like it really reminds me of driving like an old MG or an Austin Healey or just something of that like little British sports car, but it's got like a Japanese soul to it. So we kind of contemplated after we gave up on the drift build, what do we do with this thing? You know, it drives really cool. It's really super neat when it's nice out to go cruise this thing. So we kind of were contemplating like lowering it, putting some really cool old, 13 or 14 vintage alloy wheels on it, putting a chin spoiler and maybe repainting the thing and like actually fixing it up and just keeping it around as like a super old school build. Not performance oriented in any way. I didn't really want to get into a swap or anything with this thing. Be too much work to get the suspension up to par, the braking and everything else. End of the day, turns out there's a ton of people on the internet who are really into the B210s, and it's just not either of our it car. So we've kind of decided finally that we're just going to put it up for sale. We're going to let someone who really, really appreciates this specific car, and this is their it car, have this thing. It would be a great one to restore. And we'll just take that money and we'll put it into other projects or a new project that is more along the lines of something we would do. We're probably never going to get to this one anyways because it's just kind of at the bottom of the list for us. As much as we like it and it's a rad car, there's just so many other priorities with the Supras and the Corolla and the trucks and everything else. So got a buyer coming today for Little Blue, the Datsun. They're coming from about 7 hours away, so I think they're probably pretty serious about it. Little blue Datsun finally has a new family. They came all the way from Boise to pick it up to add to their Datsun entourage.
Right.
So what do you have a 510 wagon?
510 wagon, 620. My dad has a 720 510 or 72 510, and
Now this one,
this.
the B210.
And now the B210 added to the stable. Well, I hope you guys enjoy it.
Oh, we will.
We're glad it's going to a good home. We will miss this car, even though we never got around to building it. You're my boy, Blue! But,
We're gonna have a good time with it.
take care of her.
Yeah, thank you so much.
And what's your guys' Instagram?
It's Dat_Hoopty.
Dat_Hoopty. You guys can watch this thing get built along with their other stuff, because
Yep.
we know we're going to be watching it.
Heck yeah.
I'm actually going to miss that little car, but what should we build next, guys?